This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
looking back, I can see that I did it completely wrong. So let me tell you just what I did right this time.
Before we move on, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace lets you build professional-looking websites without any knowledge about coding and web design. You simply choose one of the many great-looking templates, and by dragging and dropping photos and changing the text and colors, you can make it your own. You can create beautiful galleries to showcase your work, and it's very easy to update the gallery with your latest photos. It also has built-in e-commerce, so you can start selling your prints, calendars, and digital products. So if you need a new website, head over to squarespace.com to start your 14 days free trial. And you can use the off code Morten Hilmer to get 10% off your first purchase. I've put a link in the description.
So that was such a nice experience, finally to get photographs of some birds out in the floating height. The first trip was almost a catastrophe, but the second one was really good. And I just want to talk a little about what I did different the second time, the three things that actually resulted in the fact that I got this photo of the bird. So before I start, I just want to put things up. Everything is dried now, things are hanging up, but you know how soaked my camera was out in the rain. And when things like that happened, especially on the Tamron 150 to 600, because it is a zoom lens and it still has, I don't know if you can see it, but it still has water inside, and there will be a lot around. So, and now where temperatures during the night can go to freezing, it's really good to ensure that everything is dry. So yeah, it's time to get some cards out and the batteries out and put the things to dry. And of course get the batteries recharged. And here we go. And all the other stuff. So, it was my first time in the floating height in the last video, and if you have seen that, you know that I didn't get any bird, I didn't see any bird, I heard the swans, but that was more or less it. And then I talked to a good friend, and I read some of the comments, and everyone just said, you have to go out in the night, you have to not faff around there like a boat, you need to just think as if you would do if you went into a normal blind. Go out before sunrise when it's still dark, be better camouflaged, stay completely still at one location, and then just be patient. And now when I'm thinking back, I just feel silly that I just thought that because I was on the water I could just be like a speedboat around, but of course it's not the case. Birds on the water are just as aware as birds on land. And yeah, looking back, I can see that I did it completely wrong. So let me tell you just what I did right this time. First of all, I made the rain cover so that I was completely dry when it was raining. Second, I went down, I built my blind the day before when it was completely daylight so I could see everything. I got it set up and then it started raining. But because I put the little tarp up, I could sit in there, have a cup of coffee and just be dry. And then I knew that my blind and my floating height was there, ready for action the next morning. And then I got out when it was really dark, and I got into my floating height. All my backpacks and stuff were underneath the tarp. That means that when the bird did their evening fly around, they would already be familiar with a camouflaged tarp. And then next morning when I was on the little lake, there was still the same tarp, just with my backpacks underneath. The first time I was there, I left my backpacks on land. That means that when the birds would fly around in the morning, they would see something has changed completely. And that could be the one factor that actually scared them away. The next thing, when it was still dark, I was out on the little lake, and I found a good location and I just stayed there. I was sitting on my knees in the blind with a camera ready, and I could hear the ducks around. They were like rap, 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 and I could hear the swans. Unfortunately, I didn't get them. But just as I was losing hope, suddenly this white heron was standing out there, with a long beak, and he was just going around looking for the frogs or whatever he's eating. I need to read about that bird. I have never photographed it before, so I'm extremely happy that I got these photos. And then I was sitting there, and he was just walking around, and because I had the fiasco, what you say, the first time, I was just like, I didn't dare to move in the blind. But then I started just on my knees, like very slowly. Just as when I'm photographing the buzzards from the other blind, I moved very slowly forward with the camera, and then I looked at the behavior of the bird, because of course one of my friends told me, like, you have to do the same as on land. When the bird starts to be a little nervous, you just stop and wait, and then when the bird relax, you move forward. And I did that, and I got so close to the heron. I don't think I have been so close to a heron before, and I got my photos, and yeah, that was just really, really nice. So the three things I have learned from this is, floating height is just like all other kind of photography. It's about being out before sunrise. It's about being very still. It's about reading the animals, and of course know something about your location and your subject. And now I'm just really much looking forward to the next adventures in these blinds. But there are a few things a few solutions I need to figure out. And the worst one, I think, is because the water is so cold, I constantly felt I needed to pee, so I didn't dare to drink out there because I thought this was kind of annoying. I was with that bird, everything was beautiful, and I just desperately had to pee. I was even considering peeing in the dry suit, but I thought that was taking a little too far. But then I figured out that I could actually, if you're having your dinner now, you can probably turn the volume down. But I figured out that I could actually move up on my knees and zip the little dry suit down, and then I could pee in the water. And I thought, okay, maybe it's a little disgusting, but it will be very thin with all the water. So I figured out that solution, but I still need to figure out what clothes to wear out there to not get cold, because I was cold when I got up, but it was worth all the trouble, and this is the way I want to do it next time. So I think that was it. I think now I will go out in the floating height again, but before that I'm going out to photograph the autumn colors. And this is a little new style of video. You have probably noticed that, but just to update you a little on that thing without me just rambling on, is because it has destroyed too many opportunities for me when I have to actually talk to the camera when I'm out doing my wildlife photography. So I basically have to split that up in a way that is good for me and where I can still give you a little information that you're interested in. So I've decided to make non-talking when I'm out photographing. It's really important for me to get these photos and be quiet out there, because it is not normal to talk to anything when you're out doing photography. And then in this behind the scenes section, I can tell you and share you some of the experiences. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and see you out there.